Hello and welcome back to Dr. How. Today I'm going to be talking about the genius of MC Escher. Specifically, I'm going to try to improve the scenes of Castrovalva, the first Doctor Who story in the Fifth Doctor's era. So the story was called Castrovalva. It's a four-part story. It's really two-part stories. The first half is set in the TARDIS. There's a bit of a run around in the TARDIS. The Master has sent the TARDIS back to the Big Bang to get destroyed. But once they've solved that problem, the second half of the story is set in a place called Castrovalva. Now, Castrovalva was the name of an MC Escher illustration. You can see it here. I think it's an Italian town. It's on at the top of this very steep valley. So it's at the top of this escarpment. You can see the white towers and the windows there, and they've pretty much mimicked that for the televised Doctor Who story. They've mimicked some of the design of the place. It's got these white towers and these windows and so on. If we have a look at some of MC Escher's better known works, this is the guy who creates impossible staircases that keep rising or keep falling and never going anywhere. This one's called Ascending and Descending. It's a very clever little piece of work. This is the other sort of thing that MC Escher is known for is a waterfall that keeps going up and pouring down, and yet it seems to go flat. It seems to flow flat, and yet it's going uphill. And there's some clever stuff to do with how the pillars there are arranged to give that particular illusion its potency. If we have a look at some of the other things that MC Escher is known for, let's just have a look at there's Belvedere with things going at right angles. We've got concave and convex. Again, we've got these sort of white pillars and windows, arched windows, and a sort of vaguely Middle Eastern garb on the people. And all of these trappings have been copied by the production team for Doctor Who. If we look at another one that's a well-known MC Escher print, this one's called Relativity, where you've got the staircases as forming a kind of impossible triangle, and the directions of gravity you can see are all at different right angles. So you've got obviously you have to have people walking on the staircase to see that. Now, unfortunately, the Doctor Who team didn't have the budget of a movie, so they couldn't do what they did in Labyrinth. They couldn't build a set like this, where they actually got all of these staircases in shot at the same time, all at different angles and all lit to show up the three-dimensionality of it. They didn't have the budget for that sort of thing. So we've got a staircase in the main scene, and the characters run around on it, but we don't see multiple staircases at the same time, and we certainly don't see actors walking around, flipping over the direction of gravity or anything like that. You know, they couldn't afford David Bowie either, unfortunately. So what we have is a couple of very short scenes that the production team want to use to show off the fact that the TARDIS team are caught in a spatial trap here that the Master has devised. So this is one scene that they have. I'll just show you that scene.
Someone's manipulating Castrovalva. We're caught in a space-time trap.
Now you can see from this scene that what they've done, it's a fairly short scene, okay, and that's a problem because we don't have a lot of time to appreciate what's going on here. It's very quick, unlike an Escher print where we can actually spend a bit of time looking at it and studying it and working out what's going on here. We don't actually have a lot of time to look at this, so it's pretty quick, and the things which are wrong are grossly wrong. You can actually see, well, obviously on the right-hand side there, the bottom right, we've got a very zoomed-in picture, which is grossly the wrong scale. Bottom left, we've got some people walking through the scene. Now that's just a close-up shot of these people up the back, right at the back of the long shot there. It's just the same shot. There's just another camera filming that. Something a little bit more subtle is that the fact that the staircase right in the middle of the scene is not there in reality. It's actually the same staircase as on the right-hand side of the square. They've actually got another camera down here on the right somewhere looking at that staircase. And unfortunately, it's looking straight on at the staircase. Now, you can see the same guy walking up the stairs there. It's slightly zoomed in. You can actually see that there's someone's feet down the bottom there, one of the washerwomen who are in the middle of the scene. Just her legs are left there because they've pasted over her with that staircase. So, yes, we've got a couple of staircases, which is good. That's what we want for something that's a bit MC Escher-esque. But unfortunately, to me, this didn't really quite sell the idea that they were in some spatial trap. So what I've tried to do is and I freely admit this one hasn't really worked. But what I've tried to do is add more staircases. You can see I've tried to make this sort of impossible triangle thing here by putting multiple staircases in. I've flipped the one in the middle upside down. I've got one going sideways, so there's a different direction of gravity. And I've flipped a few things upside down there to try and create this illusion of different levels of different directions of gravity. Again, this didn't really work. I'm not terribly happy with it, but part of the problem is we're limited. It's a very short scene, but also we haven't got shots of the staircases at different angles. If we just go back quickly and have a look at MC Escher's some of his, well, look at concave and convex, for example. You can see that the staircases they're viewed from this sort of 45-degree oblique angle. And if you have a look at relativity as well, the staircases are viewed from this 45-degree angle. So you can clearly see the directions of gravity. They're at right angles to each other, and there's strange stuff going on here. Unfortunately, we just didn't have those shots in the Doctor Who story. So there's a bit of a limit to what we can actually do. Now, part of the cleverness of MC Escher is that he plays with perspective. So if we go back to have a look at ascending and descending, you can see that how can this staircase actually work this way? If we draw out the lines of perspective and see where they converge, you can see that on the right hand side they almost converge to a vanishing point. So on the right hand side there, it almost works, but on the left hand side there's no clear vanishing point. It's all over the place, and that's part of the trick that MC Escher has done here. He's manipulated the geometry of this thing so it looks like everything's at right angles, but it's actually not. And if you zoom in on the staircase itself, you can actually see the other trick that he's done. It's not a rectangular structure at all, not even close, not even a trapezoid. If you actually look at the lengths involved, the far side there has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe a length of 5 units. The near side staircase has got a length of only 4 units. The right hand side's got a length of something like 6 units. There's 6 sort of distinct steps up there. And then on the left hand side, the staircase only has 3 units. So all the lengths on that staircase are all different lengths. So this staircase is not at all rectangular, and the fiddling with these vanishing points is part of what allows MC Escher to create this structure and fool your eye, because you can see a lot of that perspective. He's fooling your eye into thinking everything's at right angles, and therefore how can that staircase exist there? But actually they're not at right angles. So that's part of the trick, part of the genius of MC Escher. And if we go back to the Doctor Who show, what they televised, you could see that there is a sense of perspective here. We've got some pillars going down there. There's some vanishing points visible, but of course they couldn't film this whole set at such an oblique angle. They really couldn't do that. So we don't get that sense of the vanishing points. And we don't get the sense of seeing the staircases at oblique angles, 45-degree angles. So we're a bit limited on what we can actually do here. So I'm afraid I wasn't able to fix that one, but I gave it a go. The next one I wanted to fix was actually towards the end when space is actually collapsing around the heroes. The whole system's been disrupted and it's meant to be collapsing. And I wasn't particularly impressed with the way that was depicted. If you have a look at it, we'll just see what they did. And so that was what was televised, but what I've done is as follows. Just have a look at it. And you can see a few subtle things that I've done there. One of the things is I've pulled the part of some of the pillars forwards, so they're actually in front of the walkway up the top there. We've got things appearing, things vanishing. We've got some archways appearing and vanishing, some staircases appearing upside down, and so on. So I've just tried to make it appear like the whole thing's going haywire. Again, we're limited by what shots we actually have. We've got people walking through the scene as well, which makes it hard to actually do some of this. We've got to wait for people to get out of the way before we can do some of this stuff. So I think that works better, but again, part of the problem is it's such a short scene that you can't really appreciate it all. So this is the best I could do given the time I had. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll talk with you another time. I'm Dr. Howe. See ya. Bye.